Hello and welcome to another video from Between the Ropes TV. Guys, I'm going to get straight into the David Benavidez versus David Lemieux fight that just happened in the early hours of this morning. First of all, I just want to say that I thought it was a good touch by Showtime to open up this fight on YouTube for the UK fans. So you can either watch it live or schedule it and watch it in the early hours of this morning. I wish they did a lot more of that. It makes it so much easier for us UK boxing fans to tap into the American market without having to sort of scatter about looking for dodgy streams to watch live fights or having to ferret about to watch them the next day, early morning. It just made a lot more sense. And if Showtime could do a lot more of that, it would certainly be easier for us. But getting straight into the fight, yeah, as I kind of said in my preview, David Benavidez would win, and he won comfortably and emphatically. I didn't expect him to win as brutally as that, I'll be honest with you. And I did say that David Benavidez wasn't a puncher. And on that performance, you could argue I was wrong there. And I'm happy to admit that. I still don't think he's a single one-punch knockout artist. I do think his power comes from the accumulation of punches that he lands on the opponent clean. But he got the job done against David Lemieux, who was very game. He came forward like I said he would. David Lemieux started the first round very, very fast. He started to throw the power shots straight away, particularly favouring the left hook, and then the right hand over the top. But David Benavidez was wise for that. You don't often see that David Benavidez using the distance, using the jab, but that's what he did in this fight, and that's what I said he had to do. Once he did that, he would throw the left jab. His left jab was like a power jab, and you could see Lemieux felt that because he reset. He didn't move forward after that. And then what Benavidez started to do is he started to deter him from coming forward even more by throwing the right hand off the back of that jab, and then he threw the left hook. Now, when he threw the left hook in the first round, that's when Lemieux pretty much stumbled across the ring, ended up in the corner, and David Benavidez does what he does best. He started to throw the punches in fours and fives. He had him up against the ropes, and you could have argued it should have been stopped there and then, but the bell went. That was real quick, explosive punches, and a lot of those punches, particularly his left side he was throwing in those combinations, were landing clean on the chin of David Lemieux. Second round, again, Lemieux was coming and trying to start every round quick, probably because that was a sign that he was hurt and he wanted to unsettle Benavidez. But Benavidez looked so relaxed. He looked immovable in there. Obviously, he was a lot bigger, but he looked immovable. And what I mean by that was, whenever Lemieux was throwing, it didn't seem to have an effect on Benavidez, who looked defensively a lot better. He looked as though he was tucking up a lot better. But there wasn't much in Lemieux's punches, and that was because Benavidez took his heart away. He took it out of him. And whenever Benavidez wanted to land the right hand, he kept it long. He took a step back, and the right hand was long, so it had more effect on David Lemieux. He put him down with a left hook, and it took David Lemieux through the ropes. And then from there on, if he wasn't already, Benavidez was the boss. He was really, really imposing his will. He could do whatever he want. He pretty much stood in front of Lemieux and landed at will. I liked it when Benavidez was trying to go downstairs, which you saw in the second round. But by the time the stoppage came in the third round, he was headhunting, but he couldn't miss. So, and Lemieux's been stopped to the head before, so you couldn't really argue with that. But it was a real good, solid performance. It was a fight that we were expecting him to win. Now he moves on to the proper fights now. So what's next for him? Well, for me, because of his ranking now with with the WBC as the interim champion. The Canelo fight should be there. Whether Canelo wants to fight him is a different story. If he doesn't get the Canelo fight, he shouldn't do. And the first name that's come to the top of my head here is Amir Khan. He shouldn't do what Amir Khan did with Mayweather and Pacquiao and kind of put all your eggs in that basket to chase that fight. There's other viable, good fights for him. You guys will remember a couple of weeks ago there was a bit of a skirmish between the Benavidez boys and the Charlo twins. Not so long ago. Now, I can't see why he can't get Jamal Charlo to step up from middleweight to take that fight. If you take away Lemieux, if you take away Anthony Durrell, that's a better name than any of the names on Benavidez's record. Jamal Charlo's got a very effective jab. He's a big lad as well. He's big. He's strong. I don't think he would be overwhelmed at sort of middleweight. I don't think he's one of those middleweights that would look too fleshy or too small. But sort of middleweight, pretty much like Lemieux did. There's Caleb Plant. There's some good names at sort of middleweight. There's Morrell, who's a WBA regular champion. There's Demetrius Andrade as well. Don't forget, he was going to fight Derby's own Zach Parker. So there are some credible names that you can fight, and I want to see David Benavidez in with one of those names before I jump on this David Benavidez bandwagon. There were some improvements last night, but I felt as though David Lemieux perhaps wasn't the David Lemieux of old, and that's what I said in my preview. I think David Lemieux's kind of taken enough punishment in the ring, and I wouldn't be surprised if he calls it a day after this fight. But David Benavidez still showed that there's enough about him to make a lot of noise in this division. He's a three-time champion in this division. His height causes problems. He's physically strong. He throws a lot of punches. Defensively in this particular fight, he looked better. And I think he's got that will to win, which you can see in his inside game. His IQ off the in terms of using his range. Again, in this particular fight, it was there. It hasn't been in previous fights, but maybe that's because he's not needed it. He's not needed it. It's probably there. It may be there, but he's never had to rely on it before. And in this particular fight, he realized that David Lemieux, because of the reputation that he's got, he may have needed to whip those out the arsenal. Who knows? But what I'm trying to say is, against a better opponent who is at their prime, we'll see how effective those skills are. It's all right putting him against faded opponents or has-beens. Put him against somebody who's live now, and then we'll see how good he really is. And if he does a job on those people as effectively and efficiently as he did the job on David Lemieux, then yeah, okay, I hold my hands up and I start giving him a round of applause. But until then, I still think there's more to see from David Benavidez. But it was a good fight, and I'm a big fan of what Showtime did, and hopefully they do a lot more of that, because PBC, for all the stick that Al Heyman has, PBC have a good roster of fighters. Let's be honest, there's some good few fighters that we want to see from PBC. So if they should keep this up. But guys, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to give me some comments and some feedback in the comment section about what your opinion of the fight was. What do you think's next for David Benavidez? Do you think you should hang around for Canelo? Do you think you should go for one of the names that I mentioned? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the channel, and stay tuned because there's some big content coming in the next week. Take care, guys.